job. Hey, I just got raped. Hey, seriously, like it could be anything. That's the tough part about being in this ministry. But also the rewarding part is we get an opportunity to listen and care for them. Some other ways, some other questions you can ask to like really open up the session is, what do you want to achieve during our time together? What's one thing you want to achieve? What would make our meeting successful? What expectations do you have? So preparing, you're praying, you're looking back at your notes, you're remembering, hey, I'm there to serve them. And then once you're in that meeting with them, you're saying, all right, it's your time. What do you want to focus on? Now the next one, probably the toughest one, listening. L, listen. As it says in James 1:19, you must all, that's all, highlight, circle, underline. You must all be quick to listen, not give your opinion. Quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. I have a mentor of mine who actually introduced me to coaching years ago, and he actually wrote a book, which I was going to actually buy a whole bunch of them and just give them away, but I didn't. If you want a copy, I still will do that to you guys. But he has a book called Lead by Listening. And he's an amazing guy, Christian man, has his own coaching business, but he talks about listening and how it's the lost art of love. Like, seriously, listening is probably one of the best ways you can love somebody is by listening to them. Mrs. Woods, your husband, does he listen very well? I'm putting you on the spot now. Is he a great listener? All right, there you go. Yes. So she feels appreciated. She feels valued. Like, you're not just going in and saying, oh, hey, like I want to focus on my agenda. Remember, we're focusing on them. So, yes, being a good listener. It gives us brownie points at home with our wives, guys. So, listening. I like to say there's 3 types of listening. I, them, and we. So, I listening. I listening is this. It's like, hey, tell me about how your day's going. And you ask that question, and they begin to explain the day. Say, oh my gosh, let me tell you about this. This happened to me. That's I listening. You shouldn't have that listening. The only reason why that listening is up there is just don't do it. It's okay. I listening. It's not horrible, obviously, when we talk to share personal experiences, but it's so easy, and I'm sure we've all been there, whether it's been our friends or maybe our spouses, our family members, where you go up to someone, you're talking to them, and now the conversation's turned into about them and about how they feel and and you're just like, okay, that is not why I came here, right? So can you imagine what that has to be like? Again, think of the audience, our audience that we minister to. Think of the audience, how that has to feel to them. Like, life's already tough. I'm already struggling, and now someone's going to come in and just kind of tell me how awesome and wonderful, how stressful their life is. I couldn't remember who I was sharing with. Might have been back there yesterday at the table. I can't remember, but I remember when I first began in rescue mission 4 years ago, I would go back to my church on Sunday and preach, and I remember one thing very vividly, how your eyes, as you guys know this, you probably know it better than I do, your eyes are open when you're in rescue missions. Like, we all have problems, don't get me wrong, but your problems are probably not as tough as theirs. Like, that's how I felt. Like, and so you go back to a pretty good middle-class congregation where, like, they're even kind of, some of them a little rich, and it's like, life's not very tough for you. I mean, I didn't say that, but that's kind of the thought that goes through your mind right there. But I listen, yeah, it's not about us, it's about them. And again, the audience there, they struggle. Them listening is, well, it's the opposite. It's all about them. And this is where, and we'll talk a little bit more about it here in a second, this is where you're just focused on them. You're listening to, you're giving them good eye contact, you're nodding your head, you're paying attention to their tone of voice, you're just making observations. You are 100% engaged with them. That's them listening. And then the we listening, and this is not bad, this is like both of us. So over time, you're going to develop, I don't want to call it friendships, or you're going to develop, be a little more closer to the people that you're coaching, counseling. Thank you. Yes, rapport. And guess what? It's almost kind of like you're like looking down 60,000 feet at their lives and saying, hey, I know who you hang out with and their bad influences, or I know this person's a good influence. So you kind of have that we listening, like you're noticing something there, and it's like, all right, Chad, I know we've talked about this before. You seem to struggle with this stuff. That's okay. That's good listening, because you're helping them out, you know. Or Doc, you shouldn't do that. Like that's not, you're gonna know more about them, and you're kind of protecting them. Whether they want to listen or not, that's up to them. But that's that we listening where you're focused on them, but you're also kind of making some observations and saying, okay, like I'm looking down at your entire life here, and I'm seeing there's some areas where if you head in this direction, like it could be a problem. So 3 types of listening. I listening, we don't want to do. Them, yes, and we can. I kind of just described those. Other thing about listening, be an ace listener. An ace listener, what's that mean? Articulate, clarify, and encourage. So as I was saying, the articulate part, when you're talking to them one-on-one, you're giving them eye contact, you're focused on them, you're paying attention to like their body language. Are they like slouched down, or are they kind of just like sitting upright? You're focused on their tone of voice as well. When they're speaking, like I notice in myself, I have a struggle with this. I can talk a little fast, like Andrew. Like I can get excited and I can talk a little fast. Do I need to slow down a little bit? Are they anxious? Or are they talking and it's like, it kind of sounds like you're a little down, you're a little depressed, right? You're going to pick that stuff up. And it's okay to share that with them in a kind way. You don't want to be like, oh my gosh, like you sound like you're depressed, like who peed in your Cheerios? No, you don't want to do that, right? But it's like, hey, it sounds like, is everything okay? It sounds like you're just a little down this morning. Or, hey, you seem like you're really, really excited. Is this something you need to tell me? It's okay to like point that out to them in a kind way. So you're articulating that. See clarity, clarify. This is probably, for me, one of the biggest things I value, and as leaders, I'm sure you do too, is communication and being on the same page. That is just horrible. I don't want to go off on a tangent on how you need to have a vision, because if you don't have a vision, people will perish, and if you don't know where you're going, you can't get there, and all that stuff. So that stuff's important to me. It's the same when you're talking with someone one-on-one. I want to make sure if Bob says something, I want to make sure, hey, did I hear him right? And why is that? There's 2 reasons. Number one, the biggest reason is he may have just said something, but maybe he didn't mean it the way he said it, right? Maybe he had a real exciting moment that happened last night with his kids or something like that, and he's focused on that. He said something, and it's, oh, I didn't really actually mean that. And that's okay, but you want to make sure you clarify that. Or the other part is, again, we're serving them. We want to make sure, okay, I want to make sure I'm hearing you right. All right, so Justin, you did tell me that you are a Dolphins fan, right? I know that. I paid attention to Justin. That's why I asked with Justin, like, yeah, who do you guys pick last night in the draft, right? You want to clarify. You want to make sure, like, as they're speaking, okay, what I hear you saying is, and then repeat back to them. Or it sounds like what you're telling me is, yeah, and that's so, again, it's okay. It's not, one of those things of, hey, I'm not listening to you. No, it's just, hey, I want to make sure I'm understanding you okay because I want to serve you best. So does this sound right? And they'll say, yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I meant. Or, no, that's actually not what I meant. And then the last one is encourage. Again, everybody needs encouragement. Hey, thank you for sharing that with me. I'm very proud of you. That took a lot for you to share that with me. Doing things like that, it's going to help build someone up a little bit. It's going to make them probably just a lot more calm, a lot more cool. Because depending on who we're talking with, like they might have been through a horrible thing last weekend. They're struggling with drugs. They're struggling with alcohol. They probably have some demons they've never even actually sat there and gone through before. They need some healing, and you may be the first person to actually offer that to them. So when you encourage someone, very few people sit there and say, "Oh man, I don't want to be encouraged." No, they like to be encouraged. So articulate. You're looking at them. All right, it looks like you're excited. It looks like you're a little down. You're clarifying what I'm hearing you saying is this, and then you're encouraging them. And these you're doing simultaneously. And the whole thing too, the whole place, PLAC, you're constantly doing this simultaneously. It's not, you prepare first always, yes. But after that, the listening, the asking questions, it's not like, all right, so I'm finished listening now, let's go to the next one. Well, you can, but you might have to go back into listening, which you're probably going to do throughout the entire time. Ask, the next one. This is a good one. Asking questions. And asking good questions, asking not closed-ended questions, but open-ended questions. You can say, hey, Greg, did you like the breakfast this morning? Well, yes or no. He's probably going to say yes, but yes or no. And that's okay, to ask here and there, but you want to ask, tell me, what are your thoughts about the breakfast this morning? Loved it. Okay, so it's still shorter, but I loved it. Instead of saying, yeah, it was good, I loved it. So asking open-ended questions. I like the one that Jesus asked there, why are you so afraid? And that's probably my popular question I ask with the leaders I lead, to be honest with you. Bob was sharing a little bit ago, I think a guy on your board, correct me if I'm wrong, like, they just don't have a vision, That's okay, maybe they're not wired that way. Like, I'm one too, where I lead people and it's like, oh my gosh, like you don't have vision. Or he used the example of like, we got like 16,000 teddy bears. If that happened at my mission, there would be some people, oh my gosh, what do we get? Why are you so afraid? That's the root cause of it, is like, hey, you may not even have to handle this situation, but something different. So yeah, you ask questions. Greatest question asker is Jesus. When you ask questions, again, like I shared before, ask open-ended questions. And when you're doing this, why are you asking a question? Not just to drag the time on. You're painting a picture. You're really painting a picture of things. You're sitting down with this individual, this man or this woman. You've prayed, you reviewed. Hey, what do you want to focus on? They're sharing life with you a little bit, like this is how I feel, this is what's going on. Now you're asking questions to really paint the picture. So A, like you have a good understanding, but then also they too, it brings awareness to them. So when you ask these questions like, how did that make you feel? Or what's important to you right now? Like that's one of the ones, again, the mission, the ones that we serve where life is just like, chaotic. All right, what's most important right now? Forget about everything else. It's right now. What's like your next best move? Like asking that question might be huge for them. So asking open-ended questions. Am I hitting this right? Oops, I need to go back. Jesus himself asked questions. They say in Scripture he has over 300 questions. I didn't count. But over 300 questions he asked, and it gave them insight, it challenged them, and it helped them grow. Some of the questions that Jesus asked at Mark 36, and what do you benefit? Matthew 8:26, why are you afraid? But Mark 36 says, and what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? And then that Matthew 16:13, which in your packet says 33, I apologize. Who do people say the Son of Man is? When asking questions, make sure, again, they're open-ended. Some good questions, and there's a list on there for you, is, how have you gone about handling this so far? So whatever issue they're going through, how have you gone about handling this? Here's one that's so interesting, and it's almost like funny, but also sad sometimes. We have 7 pastors on staff at the mission in Iowa. And when I coach them, I say, how have you sought God during this time? Oh, yeah. You'd think that's the first effect. I'm going to go seek God, right? But we do that sometimes, don't we? Like, we get so busy, we get so tied up with things. It's like, yeah, I didn't go to prayer first. It happens to all of us, so, yeah.
I can only think of one question Jesus ever asked that could be answered with a yes or a no when he said, Peter, do you love me?
Yes, John 21, right.
Everything else required contemplation.
Yeah, it got them to think a little bit, right? And it's interesting because as you're speaking about, I'm thinking like our people, like they want probably the quick answer, right? They want the, hey, yes or no, tell me what to do. But when you sit and you ask someone questions, and I get myself, I have a business mentor I meet with on Mondays, and then I also have like my superintendent from my denomination. We meet every other Thursday. There's times where I'm just like, just tell me the answer. Just tell me the answer. I tried to throw it back on that. What do you see in me, right? But it's no. If you ask that question, you think about it, it's a struggle. You lose your patience. You feel like you're going to lose your patience, but it helps you down the road. You really grow. You become more aware. Have you ever sat there and been with someone, like your spouse or something, they ask a question, like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I didn't do anything. I just listened and asked a question. That's literally what it is. Like coaching is just asking good questions, encouraging, and listening to them. That's what it is. You get that artwork down there. It's good. But we can ask questions like, again, the God question is a big one because we're faith-based. How have you sought God? What's worked? What hasn't worked? All right, so now you're developing you're painting that picture. Okay, this person, say they're coming in to find a job. Well, what's worked? Well, I've applied on Indeed. Okay, what hasn't worked? I went in person. Okay, so you should probably maybe keep applying online. You should, maybe not in person is not necessarily a thing to do, right? What's important to you right now? What motivates you? What motivates you? What do you value? Like, you yourself, what do you value? How much time, energy, and resources is this going to take? It's kind of funny, but then again, I don't blame them. We have 2 6-month programs at our mission, and we're probably going to do an extension, make it 9 months, because I don't know what it's like in your guys' city, but housing's not the greatest. Like, we're 2 years out. So for our people to come in and say, hey, you got 6 months to figure it out, like, you just no, that's just not right. But another thing, too, is our people, they come in, and it's like, all right, I'm going to come in, I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to move out. Like, okay, so how much time is this going to take? You know, how many applications are you going to have to put in? How many applications a week? Applications a month? You know, what are all the resources that you're going to need? You know, who do you need to talk to? Who do you need to contact? Help them think that through. They're going to develop that list and realize, oh, it's probably not going to take 2 weeks for me to get on the mission. It may take 3 months or 4 months, right? But it's asking those good questions that really opens things up, helps them become more aware. How does that best serve you? What are you tolerating? That's a good one. What are you tolerating? Again, the brokenness of people. You know, maybe you have a lady who is bad relationship after bad relationship, and she's just, you know, being manipulated. Or what are you tolerating? What are you allowing to happen in your life right now? How do you feel about this situation? How do you feel? That's a powerful question because not a lot of people ask that. Not a lot of people want to know how someone feels. It doesn't make you not manly at all if you share. What are you learning during this process? That's a good one too, just because we're all growing, we're all learning. So if you can look back and say, hey, I've learned that this takes a lot more time than I thought. Okay, you know, or I learned, you know, hey, I'm good at this, or I learned that maybe I should stop doing this. Hey, you're growing. It may not feel like it, but you're growing. Asking questions. All right, so we prepared, we've listened, we painted a picture, asked good questions. Now the constructing part. All this stuff is really good. Prepare, listening, and asking questions. It's very good to do. But guess what? What's our goal? What's our ultimate goal? When Bob asked that question last night in his seminar, I said life transformation. So mine is coaching, consulting, and counseling. So the goal is life transformation, and I would say it's probably the same with you guys. But guess what? If you don't ever help someone come up with a plan, hold them accountable, challenge them, it's the toughest part. No one wants to do it. But this is where you really start to see it. You really start to see improvement and growth there. And I like what Paul says in Philippians 3. He says, no, dear brothers and sisters, I have not achieved it. So he's talking about this Christian perfection. But I focus on this one thing, forgetting the past. Now, I'll stop there because if there's someone who had a past to forget, it's probably the Apostle Paul. Right? If there's someone who can say that and say, hey, I need to forget something, it's Paul. As we've talked about, you're doing Romans, Doc, on the devotions, and this guy persecuted people. You don't think as he was walking, as he was going, even though he spent so much time with Jesus, you don't think here and there he's probably in a city thinking like, did I kill that person's grandparents? I mean, serious. Or, man, what would that person I'm seeing that's suffering, what would it have been like if I would have never persecuted Christians because someone else could have came over here? You don't think mentally the Apostle Paul probably thought through those things? But he's able to say, hey, by the grace of God, the power of God, I forget the past, and I press on to reach the end of the race. All right, I'm in a marathon. I'm in a race. We're not retiring until we're in heaven, right? Is that what you said? Is that what you said? Not slowing down until we're in heaven. So yeah, forgetting the past, which, again, for our people, is tough to do. It's very tough to do. I mean, the healing, and it's going to take time. It doesn't just like zap, hey, you spent one session with me for an hour, now we're good. It takes time, but you forget the past and you look forward to what lies ahead. So constructing, we talked about that. So constructing. So some steps there. The first thing, review. So again, that good communication, clarity. All right, review everything that we've talked about. You wanted to focus on getting your own place. Okay, like this is how we've handled it. This is what's worked. This is what hasn't worked. You're just reviewing everything that they're sharing with you. And that's huge because, A, maybe they forgot something. Maybe you're talking with them and they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, I forgot to tell you, like, this right here. Okay, so you're making sure you got everything. You review it with them. After reviewing, now you get into the options part. If you're familiar with the GROW model of coaching, this is the O in GROW, options. So now you're asking them, okay, like this situation of applying for housing or getting a house, what are all our options? And you just let them ask that question, and every time they give you an option, ask, what else? What else? What else? Now, you're not just doing it to annoy them, but you want to exhaust all the different options. Now, what are all your different options that you have? And if you have to help them, you can brainstorm with them. Well, what if you, say, applied for 5 different places online, and what if you talked to 5 different landlords that we're in contact with, right? What else? What are all your different options? So you're just sitting there, you're making it to where you're just exhausting everything. And then that last one, you're saying, okay, Those are good options. Out of all the ones that we've come up with, which one do you want to do? Which one do you choose? And when you get done doing that, there's a couple things you can do. I would highly recommend, okay, so what are you going to do? I'm going to do this, all right? When will you do it by? Put a time on it. Now, for us who meet with our people every other week or weekly or monthly, however it goes, obviously next month or next meeting or whatever it is, that's their deadline, right? But if they can do it before that, perfect. What are you going to do? When are you going to do it by? And then here's how will I know? Again, you can probably just say, hey, when I meet with you, or how will I know? Well, I'll just come to your office and I'll knock on the door. Our caseworker, our program director, he's a cool guy, cool, lovable guy. He is like one of the busiest guys at the mission. We have 26 people right now staying with us because he has his door open, an open door policy, and every single time someone does something, Pastor Tim, guess what? I did. Okay, good. Hey, they're excited to share the progress that they're making. So what are you going to do? When will you do it by, or how will I know? And if you want to, I didn't put this one on here, but SMART goal format. That's a good one too. Might be a little confusing for some people. All right, what's your specific? How are you going to measure this? Is this attainable, relevant, and time-bound? You can do that as well. And then the last parts of the PLACE coaching framework, and this is one that helps both them and us, is evaluating. It says in Matthew 7:3, why worry about a speck in your friend's eye when you got to have a log in your own eye? Why do I start with that? Because in evaluating, you're evaluating yourself too. You're not just evaluating them. If you look, one of the pages I have on there, it's an evaluation form that we use. There's the self-evaluation, which after your session's over with, done, go through and just, okay, how well did I prepare for this session? Like on a scale of 1 to 5, I think I put 1 to 5 on there. How well do I prepare for this session? The questions that I asked, did I ask good questions? Were they open-ended? Were they closed-ended? Was I listening really well? Was it more about me that I listening, or was it about them? Did I articulate very well? So you're just evaluating yourself, constructing a plan, like how well did I help them move forward? Did I transition well into that? And you're taking notes. And why is that? So you can grow too. Because we can always continue to grow. We can always get better. Not all of us are going to be the greatest coaches or counselors or pastors. We continue to grow. But then also, for them, the evaluation, and I put coachy. I like to use the word coachy. I know some people say, like, be a little more professional and use clients. So when I do life coaching on the side here and there, I say clients, but coachy because it makes it feel like, hey, I'm kind of cool. It gives them some confidence a little bit. Like, oh, we're friends. We're coachees. So ask them, how do you feel? Now that we're all said and done with the session, how do you feel? And then ask them, what's one thing you can take away from our time together? Just one thing. Ask them that question. Or what did you learn in our time together? So prepare. Oops, am I hitting the right buttons here? Yes. Prepare, listen, ask, construct, and evaluate. That is the PLACE coaching framework. If you guys have any questions, we can talk here, but that is my email, that is my phone number. Don't be afraid to take a picture, jot it down, text me, call me, I promise. If I don't answer, I will get back to you. If it's just some random number, leave a message, because I'll just probably think it's a telemarketer. But if you text, I'll get back to you. And there's also up here, if you want to write down your information, either on the flight tomorrow or Monday morning in the office, I will email you guys, and we can meet weekly, bi-weekly. We can set up little Zoom meetings just to kind of help. Hey, how's this going for you? What are you noticing with the people you're coaching? How can I help? How can we pray, right? Like just something like that, because as leaders, we need to be encouraged. We need support. It's tough. So